Hey, it's Becca with Rebecca Reed Creative, and I am going to give you a tutorial on what I look for with my Google Analytics. If you are new here, welcome. I'm a Showit and Squarespace website designer, and I would love to know what tutorial you would love to see next regarding Showit and Squarespace website design. So, moving on, here's what I do to track my analytics. So starting off, I will just go to this main page and I just look at the 7-day snapshot, which is this right here. And look, that's a pretty high bounce rate. So there's an issue there that I need to figure out. Why are people bouncing off of my website so quickly? Users, this is really interesting as well. This is just a general overview. Right here, active users, I like to look at this as well and just see how many people are currently on my website and then what page they are currently on. So looks like somebody's on the freebies page right now. The next thing that I like to look at is this right here. And that is the time of day that people are on the website. So I think it's really interesting to look at where the dark blue little boxes are. And if you look, I have Monday at like 11 a.m. and I know that I sent an email around 10:30 on Monday. So that would tell me, okay, great, that email actually converted. People jumped off that email and went to my website. That's one way of looking at it, and it can help with marketing and choosing when to send out emails, when to post Instagram posts. The next one that I find really interesting is right here. And what pages are popular. This changes all the time according to what I'm promoting. So I have been really pushing my SEO course. So as you can see, that is currently the highest page. Generally, this one that just has a backslash will be the highest page. And that is your home page. So you probably have one that looks like that as well. And then if you scroll, you can usually see like one with a long URL. These are different blog posts. So it's really interesting for me to see what blog posts are currently really popular. The next thing that I look at, which this is really interesting to me right now during this pandemic, is right here. What are your top devices? So as we know, we are in 2020 and most people are looking on mobile. And usually mobile is like 75 or 80%. But if you look right here, desktop is actually higher. It's at almost 60%. And I'm sure that's just because people are home and they're on their computers instead of on their phones. What will be interesting to see is if things convert better, because generally people, like let's say you're looking for, a product on Amazon, leggings or whatever, you might look on mobile, but then a lot of people will go over to desktop to actually purchase. So it's interesting that that is higher, and it'll be interesting to see if it converts or not. It's just hard to know because of the current situation we are in. If you have not done this, you should do it right now. Go to admin. It's that little settings thing. And then go to filters. And what we are going to do is create a filter for your computer or phone. So when Google Analytics is tracking this data, it also tracks you doing stuff on your website. And if you're like me, you're on your website all the time. I'm always updating pages and whatnot and just making sure that things work. So I want to get my information out of the way. So to do this, you can just go into Google and just literally just type what's my IP. It's called your public IP address, and you can copy that. And then from there, you want to create a filter. So go into add filter. You can name it whatever. So we'll just say Becca's desktop. Keep it on predefined. You want to exclude and then select a source or destination. I'm going to say traffic from the IP address. And then you do this, the expression is that are equal to. And then I can just enter in my IP address and save it. The next thing that I like to look at is audience. So again, if we go over to this little button, we can go into audience, and I'll just go into overview right now. And then I like to look at this for a few different reasons. There's a couple different things that I like to look at. The session duration is always interesting to me as well. Like I'd love if people stayed on my website for 5 minutes. So how can I change that and make that go up? This is really interesting if it's a new visitor or a returning visitor. And that just varies. Like if your website is maybe like you have, I don't know, like a course on your website, you probably have a lot of returning visitors. So there's not really a right or a wrong for this particular one. It just depends on what your industry and what your website is. The next thing I look at is city, and I think this is great for like photographers, for example. So let's say you are a Jackson Hole wedding photographer. Are you having a lot of people view you from Jackson Hole, or are you having people from LA and New York? The reason being, if you're having people from different countries that are not close to you, they probably are coming to Jackson Hole for an elopement, right? So then that tells you, oh, well, maybe if I'm having a lot of people from New York, maybe I want to create a blog post about elopement photography in Jackson Hole. And that can, again, just drive people to your website. So that's one thing I like to look at. Another thing is acquisition. Direct is like they're going, like, for example, I sent an email and it had like backslash or my website backslash SEO dash course or whatever, and they're just going directly from that email. So that's generally how people find me. Organic search is like my search engine optimization. So when people search Squarespace, what am I? Website designer, that's organic. Social, I like to click on and see which social platforms people are coming from. Pinterest is usually higher. It's not even in there right now. Instagram is generally the highest for me. But this is an interesting one because as I'm seeing LinkedIn, okay, so maybe I need to be publishing more articles on LinkedIn, directing back. So that's always a good thing to look at. And then if we go back to the overview, if we go to referral, there's a couple different ways to access it, but we're just going to do it this way. This is very interesting to me because so whenever I create a website, I will do at the bottom like customized or developed by Rebecca Reed Creative. And so I can see which of the websites I created are then people are clicking on my information. So this was an adoption family that I just created. So that doesn't surprise me that that one has people coming to my site. The other thing that I look at is behavior. Saying I will look at what, again, initially what they're landing on. So like I said, for me, it's a lot of Instagram links, but then what are they going to? So this is my homepage, for example. So when they land on my homepage, what do they go to? So they come to the starting page, and then it looks like this little red means then they just drop off. So there's no conversion. And that's why I always suggest to have multiple call to actions all over your homepage. So if we look, it looks like they're going to my about page. This shows that they're going to my thank you. The thank you page would mean that they're filling out the contact form on my homepage, and then it's getting a thank you message. I think it's going to the more page. So that they're going all over. When they go to my Instagram, like when the Instagram links, which if you have a link tree, I highly suggest deleting that and creating your own website page if you're able to. If you don't know how to create a website page, just go to a blog post and create a blog post with links to different pages that you think people may go to. So your homepage, your about page, your services page, and make that blog post your Instagram links so that when people are on your Instagram and then they click on your, quote unquote link tree, instead of going to something that's going to give you no traffic and not help your SEO, it'll go to your website and then they'll be directed. So from my link tree, it looks like a lot of people are going to my SEO course, which I promote a lot on Instagram. So that makes a lot of sense. You can set up goals. So I want you guys to think about every interaction on your website that's really valuable to you or like that converts. So for me, it's when people are on my homepage and they fill out my contact form and then it goes to my thank you page. Or maybe you want them to sign up for your webinar, or maybe you want them to sign up for your newsletter or your freebie. You can create a goal, and what you would do is you'd set up your goal and you would set the goal to be like when they land on your thank you page, you tell Google Analytics, and it would count that as a conversion. So you can name it however you want, but it'll count like how many people hit that thank you page. And so for every conversion, you want a different like thank you page. So let's say it's your webinar or your freebie. You want to create different thank you pages so you can see, okay, what things are converting the best on my website. So that's something that I have on my to-do list. So that's what I do. Not a ton of things, but definitely enough to just gain some valuable information about what next steps I should take with my marketing. So if you found this video helpful, please give it the thumbs up below and subscribe. Thanks.